Spoiler alert, the following podcast includes discussions on film that may potentially, intentionally or inadvertently, reveal plot twists, character traits, story details, up to and including endings that might otherwise be considered spoilers. Proceed at your own risk.
You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
Satan, get thee behind me! These city women are goddamn crazy. Oh,
It all sounds like some bad movie.
All right, we are back. We're ready to review.
Back.
Yeah.
Welcome to Moviesucktastic.
Oh, it's happening.
Oh, yes. I'm Scott. That's Joey.
Hi there.
And today we'll be reviewing The Hearse.
Ooh.
Now, this is a listener request. Longtime listener and contributor Gino Cuddy asked us to review this, and we agreed.
Yeah, we did. And it even has a tie-in that goes back to Latitude Zero.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, there were a few more tie-ins I wasn't expecting. Not to the last movie, but just like my life in general. I was like, oh, wow, like I have connections to this film. It's weird. I've never seen it before.
Now, I mean, I'm jumping ahead a few minutes into the movie. But
No. But before you do that...
No. It's not a plot thing.
Okay.
All right, you know what? I'll wait. I'll wait for it.
Yeah. So what I want to do, a format change up here. We're going to start, before we start talking about the film, we often tend to go off track and we jump back and forth, and we tend not to get the basics down. So before we start talking about the film, I figured let's just give a quick Moviesucktastic synopsis. So I emailed you a roughly 2-minute synopsis that I'm going to have you read to us in your best DJ voice or your best movie trailer voice.
Oh, I see. Okay. Oh boy, here it is. Oh my.
5 paragraphs, very short, and this is the whole film summed up by Moviesucktastic.
So this is The Hearse, synopsis sucktastic.
Pending name.
Yeah. I mean, I got it. I didn't stumble, but I can't.
No, you were good. You were good.
I can't promise that is going to continue, though. All right. Divorced California schoolteacher Jane Hardy deftly avoids a lesbian interlude before telling psychiatrist Garfunkel to pound sand and fleeing to her dead Aunt Rebecca's haunted house in the ambivalent city of Blackford, where she narrowly avoids a mustache ride at Ramona Corner before getting her keys from the world's most belligerent real estate agent. She meets the passive-aggressive locals who while settling in, including a creepy priest, a lecherous sheriff, a handful of inbred children, a young joyriding Shooter McGavin, Dennis Quaid slumming as a repairman, by the way, not on IMDb, Porky, and the grumpy shopkeeper's horny teenage son, whom she hires for odd jobs and occasional stalking. Everybody in town hates Jane and her aunt's house. Jane is plagued by weird occurrences as she fixes up the house, like teleporting music boxes and soapy visions of Aunt Rebecca, until late one night she is rescued from a hearse and run by creepy young Tom, who begins courting her immediately with unblinking stares and late-night rowboating. More strangeness occurs while Jane reads Aunt Rebecca's diary detailing her transition from preacher's wife to satanic whore, including dreams of hearse rides to her own funeral and being chased through her house by hearse driver Pepe Le Pew. Things come to a head for Jane shortly after banging Tom and arranging a weekend lesbian rendezvous when the drunken real estate agent shows up with a crowbar to tell her of the house robbing, grave robbing city bitch. Jane races into town to unsuccessfully seek help from Porky and the sleazy sheriff, then to Tom's vacant house, where she discovers that Tom is actually Aunt Rebecca's long-dead Satanist lover boy, and she is just his mortal rebound. Jane races back to the house to find Tom has murdered the drunken real estate agent and the horny teenager for shits and giggles. Tom tries to seduce Jane, but the spooky priest shows up to cockblock Satan, which turns the seduction into a high-speed car chase, and Jane runs Tom and his hearse off the road, saving her once again from a heterosexual relationship. The end.
Excellent.
Well, I stumbled in a few spots, but
You got a couple. No, you did great for a cold read. Honestly, yeah. No,
Thank you.
Awesome.
thank
Yes.
you. Do we have to review this now?
Yeah. So that's the movie.
That is the movie.
Because I feel like sometimes we just lose the plot when we're talking about the film because we've seen it and we're referring to that way. So at least anybody who's joining that hasn't seen the film but doesn't give a shit about spoilers, there you go. It's a nice little recap.
So the one thing I was going to bring up before, but I read,
Yes.
we read this first. Yeah, that was Dennis Quaid as the handyman, who is uncredited in this movie.
Yeah, no, uncredited, and you're right, not on IMDb.
And
the funny thing is, I thought of doing this last minute, and like when I watched the movie, I remember thinking, who the hell was that guy? That's a goofy guy. And then like later, I'm writing this, I'm like, wait a minute, who was he? And I started doing some research. Like, oh shit, yeah.
No, I knew immediately it was Dennis Quaid.
Oh, real? Come on.
I swear to God, I knew that was Dennis Quaid. I immediately went and looked it up. I'm like, that is totally Dennis Quaid. I can just tell by his voice. Mm-hmm. You got to remember, he is only 1 year removed from like Caveman.
Yeah.
I mean, he was clean shaven except for the porn stash, and I looked it up, like his age. He was 26 when he did this movie. Holy God, 26 years old.
He was so unconvincingly dressed as like a phone guy. I assumed he was from the phone company, but then in the credits where they do list him, they list him as a handyman or something like that.
Well, here's the thing: whatever he said he was when he opened the door, I just immediately thought, oh, he knows her, she knows him. This is like a prank, like hey, you made it to town. I thought that's how that scene was going to go.
My thought was more along the lines of, oh, this guy's a serial killer pretending to be a phone guy. Honestly, and actually, if you look at which brings up a good point. Backtrack a bit. So the film 1980, excuse me, end of the 70s, a 1980 film, The Hearse, written by William Bleck.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing it, but that it looks like William Bleck.
It's
now,
Bleck.
Yeah. Now, so if you look at William Bleck's writing, he really this was his writing debut as in a feature film screenplay, and it launched him right into writing for television for the rest of his career.
Really?
So he didn't write another feature film.
Okay.
Now, what I found interesting was I was looking through it, and I came across this one thing he did called. Actually, no, is that him or is that the director? I'm thinking about the director. Okay, but he did nothing. And the last thing he did was Poltergeist: The Legacy. That was a good TV show.
Oof.
Now, the reason I bring this up is because the credits have, based on an idea by Mark Tenser.
Yeah, who I believe also directed the film.
No, he's actually a producer.
Oh, he's a producer. Oh, so he's a screenwriter, and
No. He has a writing credit because it's based on an idea by him. So
I thought it said screenplay by him and one other guy.
That's what it says. But if you go into the details, he's credited because in the movie when you watch it, it says based on an idea by.
No, I know. I did see that.
Right. So what I'm getting at is this is a vamp situation where the producer says, "Listen, we're making this film. I need a screenplay."
Gotcha.
So he tells the screenwriter, "I need a film about a killer hearse." and from what I read, the screenwriter Black, when he started writing the screenplay, he was writing it as like your typical slasher with multiple red herring people, like a Scream film, that kind of thing.
Sure. Okay.
You can that you can kind of see where in that situation, what originally intended, that's a serial killer pretending to be the phone guy. That's my main point.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now the director George Bowers, he directed a made-for-TV film. He also directed. He did a lot of editing, though, mainly editing. He only directed 7 films. But the film he directed was. No, the only thing he did after The Hearse was mainly a couple of TV items, and then 3 teen sex comedies.
Anything we would have seen?
Private Resort.
Oh, okay. Wait, Private Resort. Is that the one with Johnny Depp?
Let me double check. 1985. Is that the one with Johnny Depp?
I think so.
Yeah, that's the one with Johnny Depp.
Got it.
So he directed that. That was the last thing he directed. He directed that, My Tutor, which I'm pretty sure I saw at one point, and Body and Soul, which I'm not familiar with.
I don't know that one.
Right. That's it. Oh, it's a boxer movie.
Great.
And he's a black boxer, so it's Body and Soul.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's just like the writing, directing background of it. So I messed up. It's got to be the writer. Let me go back one more second. I got to mention this because it really blew my mind when I saw it. So the writer, William Black, he wrote a bunch of shit, and the one thing he wrote was direct to TV. Where is it? The President's Shades, The Dead Letter Chain, The Stepford Children, Gladiator, Midnight. God damn it, I can't find it. I don't know what it was. All right, never mind. I'm dropping it like a fucking habit. We're done. So, yeah, it's a low budget film. It's an hour and 40 minutes, and it's a bit long for an hour and 40 minutes.
You know what? It is a long movie.
Mm-hmm.
When I put it on, I'm like, come on, hour and 40. There was this time in the 70s and 80s when if it went past 90, they thought they were really giving you something. It's like, no, this isn't a 90-minute movie. This is more. This is better. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, and it really it drags. The second half is where it really drags because there's a lot of repetition too. I mean, you can kind of see where they took a slasher film setup and then they re-geared it towards like a supernatural thriller.
Right.
And it just doesn't work, unfortunately, for everybody involved.
Now this film came out in 1980. I believe that is the same year that Friday the 13th came out. Now this came out June 6th of 1980. Yeah, I want to say that Friday the 13th. I want to say that it came out a week later. Maybe it came out June 13th on a Friday. I don't know. I don't actually remember. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, and since Friday the 13th is the film that really jump started the whole slasher film as a popular. I mean, they existed before it. It was not the first one, but it really jump started the popularity of the genre. Yeah. And you kind of wonder what would have happened if they had stuck to the Hearse's original serial killer kind of similarity than doing this rehash of Ghost Story.
Yeah, damn, I'm good. This Friday the 13th came out 1 week later on June 13th. On Friday the 13th, June 13th, 1980.
Yeah, you're borderline Rain Man with that release date stuff.
Sorry. It is. It was funny. We rent a beach house every year, and Mare and the kids are actually there right now. So I was there on Saturday, and we played this card game where it was trivia questions from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. And I just destroyed them. Because if you get the answer right, you can choose the decade you want. So I was just going 80s, 90s, 80s, 90s, 80s, 90s.
80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back when we were paying attention.
Yeah. At one point, they got angry. I'm like, listen, I didn't ask to play this game. You asked me to play the game. I'm sorry.
Right out of Diggstown. You asked me to play.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like there was 4 of us.
Let's not stray. We don't want to go into
No, 5. No, there were 5 of us, and I was like, you know what? It could be the 4 of you against me. Of course, I'm still gonna win.
So I want to touch on something. So we know the basic plot of the movie, and I want to touch on. You may have noticed something I put in there regarding the lesbian love affair.
Correct.
All right. Do you agree with me on this, or?
I didn't really think that much into it. Me reading your synopsis sucktastic was really the first time that it was even. I even thought that it was.
Oh no! I sprung it on you totally. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I didn't. Honestly, I didn't see it.
So
convince me. How about that?
Well, see, it only comes up twice in the film, but consider the fact that it's even not even said outright. They kind of imply about the divorce. They never really say specifically what happened. It's all very vague.
Yeah, they didn't say what happened, but they in the beginning of the movie, she said, "Oh, your father died and you're divorced," and
yeah, but they skim over it because she acts so traumatic about it, and so. But then that scene where she's like, "Oh, you really, sure you want to go away? You should, stay around here." And at the end, she kind of holds her face. I was like, "Oh, there's something here, man. Go for it. Go for it. Leave men behind. This is worth it." But she rejects her, takes that mysterious picture the little kid gave her at the beginning, and flees to this town. Oh, by the way, did you catch the name of the city? Blackford.
Blackford, yeah.
Blackford. Like a black Ford hearse.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, listen, it's what they do.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes you feel like at one point the screenplay must have been more focused on the hearse than this whole Satan's lovers nonsense.
Oh, you could definitely feel that things were probably changed even mid-production.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd be curious to find out, if there were reshoots or. I mean, it just seems like the script was hacked around. Like maybe he didn't even give a shit at that point. Oh yeah, let's move this shit around. That's what you want, asshole. So it could have just been at that point. I don't know how much you're paying, but and that would also explain why he didn't work for movies anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. There's an experience. But that happens a lot of times. Yeah, but and then she comes up again just at the end, just before the big climax when Drunky McGee goes smashing the windows with the crowbar. She calls up that same teacher. She's like, "Oh, you should come for the weekend." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, you should come for the weekend. Yeah, let's solve all this right now. Here's the problem: you got to get rid of men because they're the fucking problem, and that's her problem all through this movie is men. This is like that new movie. I still haven't seen that new film Men that just came out last year.
Oh yeah.
It's got that same vibe to it. It's like, this chick's only problem is that she's not with another chick.
Yeah.
She knows it. And at the end, I think she knows it. That's why I think that's what all she's thinking about. She's pointing her car at that hearse at the end. When he smiles, she's just thinking like, yeah, I'm done with these guys. Oh, horrible. It's like making a deal with the devil.
For sure.
So that's just my take on it. I feel like if the Babadook can be taken even through just as a gay film, then I think this can too. And I think it has subtext that actually rings out about it. And also, how creepy is the paramour?
Yes, very. Yeah, when he visits her the first time, I'm like, you're not really into this guy, are you?
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just staring longingly at this picture of your aunt.
Yes, she was.
Same way I'm going to creepily stare at you without blinking every time we talk. And I have an idea. Let's go out for a date. Doesn't matter what you wear. Anything will do.
Yeah.
And then they're in the middle, when I read like other breakdowns of the film, they say lake. I see reservoir.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
in a rowboat in the middle of the night with no lights or anything. Isn't this romantic? Yeah, no, this is where you dump bodies. Jesus.
It's gonna weigh him down.
You know, the fact that they even refer to her aunt as a witch at a certain point, it's a fucking witch movie, and they never make any sense. Every goddamn how many times? Every fucking time. They never make any sense.
Never.
It's never. You know. Jeez. I mean, did you recognize Shooter McGavin when you first saw him?
Of course, immediately.
Well,
which I believe Dennis Quaid was first, or I don't remember. Did you see Dennis Quaid first, then Shooter McGavin, or was it the other way around?
Shooter McGavin first, because she goes out the stretch in the morning and the door,
and she does a run
behind her, like the ghost slammed the door for no reason.
Yeah.
And then while she's jogging, Shooter McGavin hits on her.
That's right. And then, because then after that, Dennis Quaid answers the door, and I'm like, what the or like he comes to the door. I'm like, holy shit. And
then Paul, the grocery store owner's horny boyfriend, hardware store owner's horny boyfriend, horny
daughter, son.
The minute he comes on screen, Holly just screams, "Wally!"
What is? Wait, what did she say?
1941. He was the blonde guy in 1941.
Oh yeah.
Wally has to dance.
Yeah, I actually didn't remember that.
Yeah, the minute he shows up, she's just screaming it. I'm like, oh man, okay. This film has a lot of names, and then Porky at the end. Hey, Porky, where did he come from?
Yeah, out of nowhere.
And Joseph Cotton, of course.
Of course. Well, what's interesting about the guy that plays Porky, so I was like, that's Dennis Quaid. I mean, that's absolutely Dennis Quaid. So I looked it up, and Dennis Quaid doesn't have a listing for this movie at all on IMDb.
Uncredited.
But obviously, I found out that it was him anyway. It confirmed that it was him. But in looking for Dennis Quaid, I saw that it was the guy from Porky's, and I'm like, oh, that guy's in here.
and I'll tell you, IMDb didn't have Dennis Quaid listed. Wikipedia did.
Oh, did they?
People that knock Wikipedia, that is the place to go. I mean, again, you want to check resources, but the information's there.
Got it.
Hive mind, man. Hive mind. Anyway, Joseph Cotton. Now, remember that the first scene? It's one of the slides that I sent you for the background. Remember the scene when he first meets her? Looking at her ass, making lewd comments.
Yeah.
And then he gets his cop car next to her, and he's towering over her.
Oh yeah, he's huge. I mean, she's in the background, he's in the foreground, but even as he gets closer to her, he's still gigantic.
I looked it up. Unless, I mean, again, one or the other could be lying, but according to the IMDb, they are only a foot apart. He's only a foot taller than her. He looks like he's a good 2 feet tall. He just looks just.
Oh, when I saw it, I was like, she's either like 5 feet even, and he's like 6'8".
Yeah.
Or she's much taller. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And he's even taller than that.
Yeah. Oh, and then we didn't even mention the actress. I got stuck on the whole writer-director thing. But Jane Hardy's played by Trish Van Devere. She had just recently been in what was it? She's I'm not familiar with her. Like, I don't know her off the top of my head, but The Changeling. That's it. That's the one she was in.
Oh, right. Yeah.
She's Where's Papa? Day of the Dolphin. There's a bunch. She's a professional here. Their last film was actually TV stuff. I ignore it.
That's actually the second time I've heard Day of the Dolphin today. Oddly enough, yes.
Yeah, she flees lesbian lover down to Blackford, and then the Hearse sideswipes her, and then she has to get the key from the grumpy guy, and you saw the mustache ride guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah, I mean,
my.
all the signs. It's like the worst of every witch film where she's like as oblivious as Rosemary's Baby. It's like, oh, I mean, she knows everybody in town hates her, but she doesn't like put two and two together. She's like, oh, it's weird. Why does everybody hate me? It's at the house. Well, get the fuck out. Little children, you're a dead person. What? And then the mother doesn't scold the kid.
Yeah, right.
All right, the whole fucking town. And then like that for me, the best part of the movie that just like doesn't explain anything is like, okay, nobody's warning this woman. Everybody hates her. I get all that. People are assholes. But that weird conspiratorial thing after the sheriff, when the sheriff shares a glass of scotch with Drunky McDrunkerson, and they're both like, he's like, I don't think she's long for this town. He's like, I agree with you. What is conspiratorial nonsense? It's just it's ill placed. It doesn't really have any to go. What? Because her aunt like disappeared years ago and everybody is afraid of her. It's great. Well, maybe if you tell this chick, she'll help you burn the house down. I don't know what. And you can really tell they're trying to sell the serial killer thing too, because when I keep calling him Drunky, Pritchard. When Pritchard takes her to the house, who's by the way from that's our connection.
Yep.
To
Latitude Zero.
Latitude Zero, thank you. Yeah, he was much sexier in Latitude Zero.
I mean the ascot alone.
Yeah, he could have used an ascot in this film, but when he shows up there, and he's just like, oh yeah, your aunt should have given me the house. It's like, man, he was banging her aunt.
Well, actually, I think he said that she promised it to him.
Yeah, but why would she promise it to him?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, she's banging him. You probably didn't even know about the Satanist David.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he said he was also looking after the house for 30 years too.
Yeah, it's like when is she in high school? When did she promise it?
Yeah, right.
All right, it's just nothing really gels in any of the suspiciousness, and then they introduced a creepy priest who acts creepy for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, how many windows? I'm looking at this slide of the window being broken. How many windows did they throw shit through? Like she broke windows in this movie at least 4 or 5 times. And not her. Like people were doing it to her.
Pritchard broke 3 windows himself with his crowbar.
Right.
And then Satan blew the doors open when the priest showed up. I love when she shows up at the house back at the end and Tom's there like you must come with me, and he just flashed to the priest sitting in his little cell with room with nothing, bare walls. He just looks up, Jane.
Well, when the kids were like, "You're a dead person," then they throw a rock through her window, or they throw a rock through the window first, and she goes out. And she's almost unfazed by it. She's just like, it's happened so often. Like, the first thing I'm thinking of is like, shit, I gotta go get plywood. I have to board this up. I have to go get a new window tomorrow. There's going to be so many bugs coming in. It's like, there's so many things I would think of, like, if a window was broken like that. And she's just like, oh, even the kids, blah, blah, blah. And then they go back in. And it was like, no big deal.
Well, because she'll get Paul to fix it the next day. I think you're focusing on the wrong part here, sir. You should be focusing on the mustache guy.
Well, yeah, probably.
And so the hearse driver is actually Tom too, but then like if there's like a photo of Tom, then why does Tom look like the limo driver? Because I mean he's dead,
right?
Supposedly. I mean we see his two. And who buried Tom in his backyard?
Who knows?
Who and left with a tombstone? If he was the driver of the hearse that mysteriously blew up and crashed and disappeared those years ago with Aunt Rebecca and her coffin and the hearse, they all like crashed and so I guess like they crashed. They say they crashed, but then like nothing was found, so they could have just like drove away. What do you call a crash when there's no? What do you call a crash when there's no remnants of a crash? Not a crash.
It's not nothing. Nothing happened.
I mean, it's like if it exploded, it's like so there was no sign of anything. So what the fuck was left? Then what exploded? Nothing. So that's bullshit to begin with. But if that's the case where they disappeared, and they did die, and they didn't find anything, how do they bury Tom? Why did they bury Tom? Why did they put a tombstone down for burying Tom? And why does Tom look like a demented middle-aged French guy driving the hearse when he wouldn't have aged because he's dead and he still looks the same in the picture?
Dude, you want to talk about me focusing on the wrong thing?
Hey, when the mustache guy started like teleporting to random places in the house, that didn't bother me at all. I was like, all right, we're doing the whole could be a dream thing, so whatever. The dream sequence was actually the least annoying part of the whole film.
Yeah, it was.
Fine, the dream sequence.
No, it was actually not bad.
Yeah. I thought some of the cuts were. At first, it was like, "Oh, here we go," but it was like, "Yeah, you know what? This is actually showing some chops." And here's one of the weirdest things about this film that just like, again, you can tell it's a mangled screenplay. She has the dream, and then the next day, she goes to the church, and then one of the parishioners that the creepy priest is talking to, she recognizes from the dream.
Oh,
and
right.
then covers for her, and then when she leaves, the dream lady she recognizes glaring at her out the window. So, it's supposed to be a creepy setup, but it doesn't make any sense.
A lot of this movie doesn't make sense. It's just, I don't know. What was the consensus about this film? Because Gino recommended it. Did Gino like this movie, or did he just figure it's right up our alley?
I don't know. I mean, it's
I'm just genuinely curious. I mean,
I could see this as Gino likes older films, and this could either be a film he came across recently, or maybe he saw it growing up. I mean, I've never seen it, but I'm familiar with this type of film, and the genre is the kind I don't like, so obviously I'm biased on that. But again, like the dream sequence is pretty cool, and like some of the setup isn't bad, but it's just not cohesive, and you can tell, and it definitely suffers more from production issues. You can tell.
Oh, for sure.
I'm really building this whole scenario in my head of the screenwriter just by the end not giving a shit, just trying to get it done because they've already had to mangle it so much.
Yeah, they had. Yeah, of course. Do you think this film do you think we would have ever shown this outside, or do you think people would just have gotten bored by it?
Well, it's a good film to show for a group of people because there are long. Well, you need long pauses for people to talk because that's why you're showing a film. You want to be able to talk about it. So this is actually a good film for that kind of thing because you have short bursts of action. Then you have the long, drawn-out nonsense, which is interesting if you're watching it, but you can also talk while it's happening.
True.
Very,
very true. No, it's very, very true. I don't know if I would have shown this for a bad movie night.
Again, it's too long. At an hour and 40 minutes, it's
too long. I think people would have gotten too bored by it. There isn't enough. There just isn't enough of the movie where it's just like, for instance, when we showed Alone in the Dark, nobody walked away disappointed for the fact that we were showing, like, listen, we're showing you a shitty movie. Nobody walked away going, that wasn't as bad as I thought. No, that was fucking terrible, and it was nonstop bad.
It's not bad enough to be that entertaining. It's
right.
Just,
and then we showed the black hole, and everyone just bailed on us.
Oh yeah, that was rough.
Well, actually, no. Did we show that by ourselves? Everyone left already?
It ended up being just the two of us, and we would keep waking each other up during the last 20 minutes.
That's right. We were falling asleep. It's like, don't fall asleep. Don't you fall asleep. Yeah, just kept looking over. It's like, I don't want to do this alone.
I saw that. I think I saw that. I definitely saw it as a kid. I don't think I saw it in a theater, but I saw it as a kid. How did I sit through that? It's fucking boring as all shit, most of it. Man. But we're sidetracking.
We're definitely sidetracking.
Yeah, and then you get the whole subplot with the creepy teenager that wants to recreate Summer of '69, or that's it, right? Summer of '69.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the movie with the kid bangs the widow.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually that's the film showing on the TV in The Shining when they're watching TV in the living room. There's some So you get that whole subplot, which again you can tell they're trying to set him up as a potential killer or something, and how he gets he breaks the vase when she says she's dating Tom, and it's very hackneyed. Yeah. Wow. There's definitely a lot of novelty appeal to the film, but it if it was a bit short, it really, the running time is the main thing that really hurts this film, because it's not worth the attention span of an hour and 40 for what it has to say.
No, definitely not.
Because it really doesn't have much to say. I remember she's reading the diary. It just goes from, I'm cheating on my preacher husband. He wants me to join a pact with the devil. It's like there's just like no prelude in this diary. She's just like, it's like she's summoned the whole day up. Asked to join Satan. Join pact with Satan today. And I was went to, but
it was like went to the supermarket.
It comes out of like she should have dropped the diary. What the fuck was that? It's just like it's really there's no reaction from her as an actress. It was bizarre. She acted a little concerned, but was like that was more like that's the kid. She gave the look to wants me to join in the pact with Satan, the same look she should have given thinking of betraying my husband's trust.
Well, I'm wondering if scenes like that were filmed, but the actual plot structure, she didn't even know about it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
You know,
no, definitely. Again, there's a lot. There's a lot of that you can obviously see. Yeah. I think I've touched all the major points of it. I hate making fun of people receding hairlines, but the whole psychiatrist scene, all I could think of is Binkley from Bloom County or Art Garfunkel. It's just
Garfunkel.
Yeah, and that was everybody again. All the men in this film are dicks. The psychiatrist is like, what do you think you're gonna do? Get over it? It's like, I think if I get a break and I have a rest, I can recharge. Like, how do you know that's gonna work? So what the fuck is this guy's problem? Every guy in this film is a dick. She should have She should have after that school. She should just like torn that picture in half from the kid and got in the car with Miss Nudie Pants co-teacher, and they just spent the whole summer together. That's your summer of '69.
69.
Yeah. But yeah. I just this whole film is just why divorced women shouldn't date. And I've dated divorced women, and yeah, they shouldn't date.
No,
because they end up with people like me.
Oh, hey now.
Yeah, I mean, we've covered a lot of it. Is there any more detail that you wanted to get into?
I mean, no. I mean, no. I where do we go from here? Do we? What's our format now?
Horrible title, by the way.
Oh, it's a terrible title.
Yes, horrible title. Well, we should definitely rate the film. I mean, if we don't have anything else to add to our critique of the Hearse, we should rate it on IMDb.
All right.
If it's currently at 4.9.
I would say that's about right. I would say a 5 is about right.
This is kind of what we mean when we talk about your like passable film, like as a 5. Like you're just, it's a film. You can't deny it. It's a movie. We had a screenplay. We had a budget. It's edited properly. It's whether or not you like it, it's a film.
Yes.
I feel like that's the ultimate 5 that we should be giving. I agree with you 100%. I think the Hearse is the penultimate 5 for a film. Definitely worth a watch, but I mean, don't get your hopes up. But there's some good moments to it. I definitely enjoyed doing the slides for the show.
There you go.
All right.
Well, you know what's interesting? You brought it up. That terrible title. I just saw a movie yesterday. Well, actually, no, the day before yesterday. Terrible title. Pretty good movie.
Which one?
Plane, with Gerard Butler.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Terrible fucking title.
Oh yeah.
Plane.
Well,
I've been saying it for years. You know my stance on one-word titles. Most of the time, 99% of the time, they suck.
Here's the big problem with the film. Yeah, they're on a plane, and then they have to get back on the plane. There is a plane that's central to the film. However, the hero of the film is the pilot. How is this not called The Pilot?
Right? It could have been called anything else.
If you're going to go for a stupid one-word title, that's your fucking title.
Yeah, Plane.
No?
I mean, I think that's why it was released in January. I'm wondering if one of the reasons it didn't test well was because of the title. because I saw the movie and I'm like, how did this not test well? This is actually a pretty well-made movie.
Yeah, you know what drew me to the film from the trailer?
No.
When the co-star, the prisoner,
Right.
when they show him walking up behind one of the terrorists and he has a sledgehammer, he's like, oh, I'm in sledgehammer fight. I'm in.
That was a good scene too.
I mean, it's. I mean, if someone wanted to argue a 5 for Plane, I mean, how it depends on what entertains you and what you're looking for in a film, I guess. But like even a film like Plane, and I would say Plane's better than 5. But it's a competent film. It's not a masterpiece. It's not Oscar territory, but it's not shit. It's really well made, and if it's boring as shit, it's still a film.
Yeah.
And I just the title falls in that line too. I mean, it's not all about breaking boundaries. Sometimes it's just about being entertaining.
Well, what's interesting too. So I have my Plex server set up to give me IMDb scores. You get the critic score and then the audience score. The critic score is favorable. I think it was in the 65 to 70 percentile range. But the audience score was like 94%. And I was actually quite surprised that it was that high. Not that I think it should have been lower than a 75 or an 80, but I was like, I didn't expect it to be that high.
I mean, the argument could be made that some films aren't going to attract an audience that aren't going to like it because
Right.
it's like specifically designed for that audience.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
I don't know. It's a theory I have. Sometimes a film comes out and it's so well made for this niche market that the only people that even watch it is that. So the only people reviewing it.
Yeah.
And this isn't like it's a huge mainstream film either. I mean, it probably wasn't really on the radar when it was released theatrically.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't do well financially, so.
No, yeah, exactly. It just probably came and went. No one really heard about it, and then anybody that's seeing it now is because they sought it out. So I mean, yeah, you always have to. It's not. Yeah, that's why it's a rating and not like an actual value estimate.
Right.
We put too much faith in ratings because all ratings are based on opinions. So we're really just looking at what the consensus is, and if we've learned one thing in the last fucking several years, the consensus is jack shit. Man. But no, the Hearse wasn't bad, and I think I enjoyed watching it, and I think this is a 3 in a row, 3 successful listener requests. I couldn't be happier. I've just enjoyed all these films, and I'm so glad we got some requested. And please, guys, if there's anything else you think we should be reviewing, I want to see it. I do. Even if I don't like it, I want to see it. Unless it's something like La La Land, But
well, no. I mean, obviously, we're not going to. I mean, we'll almost review anything that is recommended to us. We do have to have some boundaries somewhere. But
right. Well, theatrical release is what we mainly do, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be theatrical. And if it's theatrical and we haven't reviewed it yet, we'll probably do it.
Right. So we'll wrap up the show in a moment, but I just want to ask you real quick. Do we have any more listener requests on hand, or do we have to switch into a new format now?
No, as far as I know, no new listener requests.
Okay. So we have a few options. And you have any ideas, sir? What you want to review next?
If we're going to... this is so the new format. The old format would have been.
We can do whatever we want. Let's just be clear.
I'm just saying the old format is you have to have a connection in some way, and we were going back and forth challenging each other. The new format was what was the new format again?
Well, for a while we were doing by year, starting in '73. And
right.
We did that for quite a while. And
we did that for like 2 years. Where did we change the format after that, though?
Yeah, but then the Oscars hit, and it's been a while. So I think we should just start fresh on where we want to go from here. I mean, we have a couple. We could pretty much do whatever the fuck we want. But
yeah, it's our show.
Now, one thing I was going to suggest is we could look at the possibility of filling some holes in our coverage. And what I mean by that is, if I look at the handy chart I've created to track us that you have access to now, thanks to the wonderful world of the inner tubes.
Thank you.
If you start from now and go backwards, we review films in every year until 2003. We have not reviewed one film that was released in 2003.
Really?
So one option could be we could just start with one film from 2003 and just play it by ear from there.
I think
That's one suggestion.
No, I like that suggestion. If we've never reviewed, is that the only year we haven't reviewed in? I mean, with the exception of going.
No, that's why I started like most recent, because if you go back, I mean, there's a huge gap. The oldest film we reviewed was the year 1932.
What was that? Dracula.
So, yeah, I think it was
Murders in the Rue Morgue, maybe.
Black Cat. I think it was the Black Cat.
Black Cat.
But between 1932 and 1980, there's a lot of gaps.
Okay, but after 1980.
What?
But after 1980.
There's a couple gaps, but not a lot. But 2003 is the first gap we hit going backwards. So I just think it's the most prevalent one. And then also 2001, we don't have one either.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. No, we have holes because, again, we spent a lot of time in the 80s. A lot of time in the 80s. And then most of the current stuff we do ends up being Oscar films because we cram, up to 10 films just own an Oscar season of new films. So we do have holes in the older stuff. So if you want to, like I said, I'm bringing up my I'll bring up my
I'm good with I'm good with 2003.
You know what? Let's take a look real quick.
Right.
We won't take too, but since I'm feeling the review is a little short, and I feel like this is interesting talk because I'm crazy.
Movies released. My favorite site, the numbers.
Let's
see. What are you doing?
I'm going to my Plex first.
Let's have a look here. Oh,
I'm take it,
Kangaroo Jack.
Before I look, do you want to guess how many films I have from 2003 in here?
Sure. I'll go 200.
200. Oh, I think you overshot it. Let me see. Year 2000 and God, I love Plex's sorting. 78.
Oh,
way off.
I totally way off on that.
Ooh, here's right off the bat. Beyond Reanimator. That's a good option.
Okay. Final
Kevin,
Destination 2, The Guru.
Control. Daredevil.
Control is in KON?
Yes. Yeah.
That's a foreign film.
It's a foreign film, but I'm just throwing.
I remember liking it. I don't remember it being a bad film.
Did we review? I know we talked about Darkness Falls. I don't think we actually did we formally review that?
Is that the Tooth Fairy one?
Yeah.
We always bring it up. Ben Affleck's Daredevil.
Yeah, Daredevil. I think that's a dude. I just love. Everybody hated that film. I thought it was fun. I liked the fact that it had a hero that was afraid of the dark. I mean, shit.
Fucking please.
Darkness Falls. Let me see. Darkest Hour? No, that's that movie. Okay, no,
yeah.
we haven't. We talked about it in an episode, but we never actually formally reviewed it. Final Destination 2, Freddy vs. Jason, High Tension, 1,000 Corpses. Hot Tension. We did House of 1,000 Corpses, I think.
Maybe.
All right, so we have a couple of superhero films. We want to do that. Daredevil, Hulk, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Jeepers Creepers 2. We've done the new one, so that's option 2.
Let's see.
Old Boy, Paycheck, The Room.
The Room. Ghost of the Abyss. Oh, James Cameron. I'm going to the bottom of the ocean.
Stay there.
Oh, did you hear that they asked him about that submarine that imploded? They interviewed him, and he's like, yeah, nobody listens to me. So it's like, I knew right away that there was going to be problems because of how it was built. It's like, shut up.
Well, how many times has he been down there? He hasn't died yet.
Well, because he's
I think
he's almost a billionaire, and his submarine vessel is made properly.
But the thing, if I hadn't heard all the horror stories of the CEO just being a complete asshole and just like cutting corners at every chance, I totally would be on board with you about like fuck Cameron. But like after all that heard, is like he's right.
Oh no! I'm not saying fuck Cameron. I'm just saying like just shut up. Yes, we know you know.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. It's like, yes, we know you've been to the bottom of the ocean and you're good at it. It's like, well, fine, I get it. Shut up.
Now, maybe there's a reason why we haven't reviewed a film from 2003. I mean, it's kind of slim pickings.
Well, let me tell you something. This is my theory about the years that end in 3.
Oh, that's right.
Remember, I mentioned that it's like 73, 83, 93, 2003, okay. 2013, and then this year.
What would happen if we just jump back to 2001, the other year that there's a gap for us?
Sure, because I'm going through and there's nothing here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apocalypse. I've never seen Apocalypse Now all the way through.
Apocalypse Now. That was what? Redux? That was a re-release?
Yeah, it's Redux. Yeah, Redux. Yeah, sorry. Brotherhood of the Wolf? Well, oh yeah, good movies here. Caveman's Valentine?
Yeah.
Backbone? Donnie Darko? Evolution?
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. The years that end in 3, they suck.
An X. All right, you know what? I don't think this is going to be solved tonight. I think we'll have to talk about it off air and come to a decision because this conversation will get boring very quickly. So I think we should just wrap up now. We've reviewed the Hearse, 1980s ghost film, witchcraft. Harlequin romance meets ghost story.
Oh yeah.
And we gave it a 5. And thank you, Gino Cuddy, for requesting that from us. And once again, Joey's going to tell you how you can request a film review from the movie guys here.
Oh, yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. As always, go to our website at Moviesucktastic.com. Go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Moviesucktastic. Go to iTunes. You can listen to our show there as well. If you would like to leave us voicemail, the number is 908-514-4470. If you'd like to leave us email, you can do that at themovieguys@Moviesucktastic.com. Either one of those is a great way to get to us for just telling us how much you like the show, how much you don't like the show, movie reviews. If you want to request a film for us to review, anything, just go ahead and do that. We'll read it or we'll play the audio. You can go do a search on the web for Moviesucktastic. We come right up. You can download the free Android app that we have on our site at Moviesucktastic.com/mst.apk, or go to your Play Store or whatever Apple has, and you can download your favorite podcast player and just do a search for Moviesucktastic, and we come right up. Yeah. Do you have any words of wisdom, Mr. Wilson?
You want ghosts? I'll give you a ghost, you house robbing, grave robbing, city bitch.
That's my house. All right, everybody. Talk to you next time. All right. Bye-bye.
Forever and ever.